All right, so now they're coming for Roald Dahl. The children books of Roald Dahl, the child books of Roald Dahl are to be rewritten to become less offensive. Fat has been replaced with enormous, and Oompa Loompas have been replaced with humans and not men. This way, the books of Roald Dahl are to be more correct for our time. The British publisher Puffin has chosen to make a string of changes when they henceforth are to publish the author Roald Dahl. This to make the books more inclusive and less offensive, writes the Telegraph. So I went to the Telegraph article. Unfortunately, it's behind a paywall, so I can't really access it in English, but people have read it. Norwegians have read it in English, and they've written an article about it, so I can just attempt to translate here on the fly. The publisher has engaged so-called sensitivity readers to rewrite parts of the text to make sure that the books can continue to be enjoyed by everyone today. There has been done hundreds of changes. Roald Dahl came from Great Britain, but he had Norwegian parents. He died in 1990 at the age of 74. When he had published, among other books, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Witches. The rewriting has, among other things, led to any use of the word fat being removed. Augustus Gloop, from the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is now called enormous instead of fat in the English rendition. Gender neutral terms have also been introduced. Oompa Loompas were formerly referred to as small men. Now they are instead small humans. Gender inclusivity, LGBT. There has been several reactions on the news that the publisher Puffin has chosen to change the language of Roald Dahl's books. The conservative commentator Niall Gardiner calls it a woke insanity that never ends. Right, never-ending woke madness. Okay. Media commentator Paul Connew says that the changes are on the border of the absurd. Right, okay. Alright, that's it. Let's see if there are some comments here. Show comments. Let's see what Norwegian people have to say about this. You know, we take some pride in Roald Dahl being, ethnically Norwegian. Let's go to the best. Let's go see there. Okay. What about Klatremus? Alright. Career conscious women. Yeah, this is a Norwegian inside joke. Let's just see here. Woke is dangerous if you don't submit to the narrative. Woke can destroy your life forever. Woke can start wars. This is the new communism. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. This is a form of censorship when you rewrite books to fit someone's narrative. And we see more and more of this. Soon, it's only Mao's Little Red that can be read unedited. We are to be woke whether we want to or not. Even the Bible is going through a revision where we can read about Comrade Jesus and his followers. And God's sons are God's children, to include women. They will certainly make a new religion, but what it is, it's not easy to predict. All right, so those are some of the comments from Norwegian newspaper writers. Yeah, and this is funny that you should mention that this guy, Jan Kvamme, was it? He should mention the Bible. This is my first time. I haven't even read the article, but I'm just winging this. So let's go straight to the Bible. There we go. Deuteronomy 23:17, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Now, according to the New Testament, Christians are the new Israel, right? Christians are spiritual Israel. So, you know, we could say there shall be no whore of the daughters of Christendom, nor a sodomite of the sons of Christendom, right? This is the base language of the King James Version. And he touched upon the editing of the Bible, which has already taken place for centuries now. So let's just this is the King James. Let's just quickly consult some of these new translation. Let's go to Bible Hub, and let's see what some of these other translations, how they render Deuteronomy 23:17, the New International Version. No Israelite man or woman is to become a shrine prostitute. That's weak. No Israelite, this is the New Living Translation, no Israelite, whether man or woman, may become a temple prostitute. Weak. The English Standard Version, none of the daughters of Israel shall be a cult prostitute, and none of the sons of Israel shall be a cult prostitute. Weak. The Berean Standard Bible, no daughter or son of Israel is to be a shrine prostitute. This is weak. Now, here we have the King James. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. And then lastly, let's just see what the King James, the New King James, there shall be no ritual harlot of the daughters of Israel, or a perverted son of the sons of Israel. You see, they have edited the Bible, and now they're going through the English language, and they are consciously manipulating the English language, and they're fashioning it in such a way that it becomes conducive to, yes, Satanism. And we're going to touch upon this. This is why the King James Bible, even if you're not a believer, the King James Bible functions as an anchor in the storm of degeneracy that is ravaging the English-speaking world. If so, let's just close this here. Let's go back. I see here. There we go, King James. So listen to the language of the King James, right? The King James language is based, right? The King James does not muck about, right? The King James calls a whore, and a sodomite, a sodomite. It talks about the sons of God, not the children of God. Jesus talks about my brethren, not my siblings. In these new translations, Jesus is talking about my siblings instead of my brothers. So there is this gradual dilution and perversion of the Word of God in order to bring about. Let's see what they're going to bring about. Let's close this and let's go to this guy, Manly P. Hall, notorious Freemason, Luciferian occultist. Let's see what Manly P. Hall had to say about the English King James Bible. Let's see, where was it? Here? Yeah, okay. Hall wrote about many religions. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a 33rd degree Mason. By the way, Winston Churchill was also a 33rd degree Mason. We're going to talk about this in later videos. Franklin D. Roosevelt, a 33rd degree Mason, loved Hall's occultic New World Order teachings. 47 years after Hall wrote about Masonry, he was given an honorary 33rd degree. The man had major connections and lots of money. During World War II, over a year before the USA bombed Japan, Manly P. Hall considered how to make one world government, right? One world government, it's an emergent property, fine, but it emerges from the Masonic lodges. So during World War II, over a year before the USA bombed Japan, Manly P. Hall considered how to make one world government. In the next 10 years, we will have to rebuild a world civilization. Okay? I hope for some psychologists and even philosophers to be among those appointed to administer this problem. We will sit at a council table and figure out how to iron out the troubles on the earth. On the earth! The whole world is to be governed by Freemasonry. No post-war program can be successful unless at least 3 and probably 5 generations of social conditioning goes with it. Now, 3 to 5 generations of social conditioning from 1940, this was written in 1944, right? This is where we are now. We are now 3 to 5 generations. I think we're in the 4th generation of social conditioning, of Freemasonic social conditioning, global homo, one world order, global homo. Hall foresaw 5 generations of conditioning starting in 1st grade needed to create a world capable of mental and emotional tolerance. Okay, tolerance of what? Tolerance of a global Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, let's close this. That's Manly P. Hall. He's a nice guy. He looks like a good guy, right? He looks like the kind of guy you would like to run the world, right? Okay. Now, so in America now we have the say. No, no, no. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Yeah. So George Orwell, politics and the English language. So in the introduction to George Orwell's essay, Politics and the English Language, written in 1946, he writes, quote, "Most people who bother with the matter at all would admit that the English language is in a bad way, but it is generally assumed that we cannot by conscious action do anything about it. Our civilization is decadent and our language, so the argument runs, must inevitably share in the general collapse. It follows that any struggle against the abuse of language is sentimental archaism, and this is what you encounter on the right when you talk about the critical, decisive, pivotal importance of the conscious manipulation of language. They scoff at you and they throw these idioms, sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me, as their entire civilization is kneeling, deathly afraid of being called racist or phobic, right? You're a phobist. You're a istphobe. So how can you look at the world today and scoff at the importance of language? The left does not scoff at the importance of language. This is why they are winning. So we on the right, we have to realize that the conscious manipulation of our language is the name of the game. All right, let's go back to George Orwell's introduction. It follows that any struggle against the abuse of language is sentimental archaism, like preferring candles to electric light or hansom cabs to aeroplanes. Underneath this lies the half-conscious belief that language is a natural growth and not an instrument which we shape for our own purposes. That bears repeating. Underneath this lies the half-conscious, like the NPC, belief that language is a natural growth and not an instrument which we shape for our own purposes. So the instrument that is the English language, we have to take conscious charge of it and consciously manipulate it for our own purposes. Okay? All right. Which brings us to the Satanic Temple. The Satanic Temple in the United States. You know what? Let's not talk about the Satanic Temple today. Yeah, the Pentagon. Yeah. The Pentagon is literally Satan's headquarters. From whence the devil governs the world through brute force. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the fruits of Freemasonry. Let's see if this is able to record. Yeah. Well, look at the prog. Look at the tolerance. Right? Yeah. This is where we're at, boys. Yeah. Right. Hail Satan. Right. Yeah. Burning our churches. Burning Christian churches in the West weekly. And what do? Nothing. So what do we need? This. England was great once. England was Christian. The English language, thoroughly Christian. And it has to become that again if we are to have any chance at redemption. Right. Yeah, so this is just I'm just gonna see if this format if I can do these types of videos. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Yeah, cling to the King James, pick up the King James Bible, even if you don't believe it. The language of the King James Bible is uber based. So if you care about the English race, then you have to care about the fingerprint of the soul of the English race, which is the English language, and you need to start consciously taking charge and consciously manipulating the English language for in a direction which is more conducive to salvaging our nation, our nations, and our religion and our civilization.